Show with Rob Hahn is presented by Yamaha ATV. The race show is also sponsored by Arby's, Elko Speedway, Towsley Motorsports, Cedar Lake Speedway, and Raceway Park. Now, a man so vain he probably thinks the song is about him. Here's Rob Hahn.
All right, welcome race fans to yet another episode of the always illustrious race show presented by Yamaha ATV. Always illustrious, you bet. I'm Rob Hahn, publisher of Minnesota's Racing Connection. And before we get going, I want to talk a little bit about something I was thinking the other day. And it's always a dangerous proposition when I'm thinking. But I was thinking about former New York City Mayor Ed Koch. I think I saw something on him on TV, and it got me thinking about what he used to do. He used to go out and talk to voters when he was mayor, and maybe even it was before he was mayor, when he was congressman. And he used to talk to voters and ask them one simple question. He'd say, how am I doing? So here we are, midway through our season. We start the second half of our season with the race show today. And I thought it would be a great opportunity to go out among the fans and ask them, how are we doing? So how are we doing?
Doing absolutely fabulous.
What's the best part of the show in your mind?
It's very entertaining. I love the conflict of opinions.
Conflict of opinions? I'm shocked. We don't have any conflict of opinions.
Yeah, a little bit.
Would you be referring maybe to the two people who joined me on Points to Ponder?
Exactly. They make it very enjoyable and entertaining.
How are we doing?
Y'all stink.
We stink.
Yeah, majorly.
Watch your mouth. Well, outside of me, what's your favorite part of the show?
Usual suspects.
So how are we doing?
Awesome.
What's your favorite part of the show?
Rob, I'd have to say that you're the best.
Thank you, I agree. Oh, sorry, I got to get back to reality, into the race show here. Bribery will get me everywhere, won't it? Anyway, last weekend, Elko Speedway had its version of what we like to call full moon racing. Take a look for yourselves. There, of course, was much more than a few full moon wrecks last week. There was a lot of great racing at local tracks, and we'll take a few minutes throughout this show to tell you all about it. Included in the next few minutes is an interview that Dan Plan, the encyclopedia, did with Elko late model driver number 50, Steve Anderson. Tom Nesbitt, the colorful Canadian, is the guest of Stan Meissner, who, along with videographer Brian Nelson, caught up with Nesbitt at Cedar Lake Speedway a few weeks back. Jason Schneider, it is fair to say, has accomplished many things in racing, but until today, there was one thing missing from his resume. But we start today's show with Sportsman Josh Larson. What a win last Saturday at Elko Speedway. You and Sky and a few other guys, Paul Neitsch's, duking it out. It was a nice win.
Yeah, it was kind of nice the first one, and had a good battle at the end there with a couple cars, so that makes it a lot more fun, I think, when you got someone to battle with instead of just being out there by yourself.
A quick aside, this is your first visit to our illustrious race shack, and I could tell by the look on your face, you were pretty impressed.
It is, it's impressive, yep.
Now, just don't move that chair back too far. You know, we don't have any insurance, so if you fall through and hurt yourself, you're going to have to deal with that on your own.
Well, we'll take care of that.
Okay. What about those final few laps? I mean, you had a car, let's back up even before those final few laps. You had a car that looked like it could go almost anywhere on the track and do it at fast speeds.
Yeah, we had a good car, but it was starting to get a little loose at the end. So I was really being easy on the throttle, and when Sky got up there on the last couple laps, I had to just go for it all, and he was coming fast. So.
Were you using the mirror at all, or were you just kind of driving your own line?
I wasn't using the mirror a lot until all of a sudden he kind of put his nose up there, and then I went, oh!
Well, it was a very, needless to say, a very impressive win, and as you've said, a very enjoyable win as well. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Josh Larson, last week's Sportsman feature winner at Elko. The third leg of the Minnesota Late Model Challenge Series, that series between late models at Raceway Park and I-94 in Sauk Center, takes place tomorrow night at Raceway Park. Todd Hansen won the first leg at Raceway earlier in the year, but didn't quite fare as well in the second leg at I-94.
Yeah, I mean, we've had a good couple runs and had a couple DNFs that we weren't too happy about that put us out of the points for the rest of the year, but Other than that, we've been making changes to the car that work, and everything's getting better all the time.
What do you mean out of the points? You still might be in contention, the usual suspect points.
Well, that'd be doing you a personal favor. I don't know if I can swing that for this one. It costs a little too much.
Your win earlier this year was part of the Late Model Challenge Series, the series between Raceway Park and I-94, and you finished 6th in the second race up at I-94, and then tomorrow night it comes back to Raceway Park. What are your thoughts heading into race number 3?
We just hope we got a good car and stay out of trouble. Hope nothing happens in front of us, nothing breaks. Other than that, we ought to do all right.
You know, we talked about the ups and downs this season, but really we're only at the midpoint of the season. Do you have certain goals that you want to achieve in this second half?
I basically, at this point, just want to win races.
Another late model driver who will be competing tomorrow night in the third leg of the Late Model Challenge Series is John Paul Odegaard. It's really been quite a rookie season for you here at Raceway Park.
Yeah, we've been having a pretty good time. We started out fast, and we've been kind of keeping up with the fast all the way through so far.
Outside of taking tips from Dave Goldman, who also doubles as your publicist, as you well know, what have been some of the keys to becoming so fast and so familiar with the late model at Raceway Park this season?
Well, we have a lot of laps here before we had a late model, so that kind of helped us out a little bit. Then we, like I said, over the winter, we pretty much did our homework, figured out what we needed to do to make the turn, and we did that. So far, every week we've been fast, and try a few things here and there just to make sure we keep it fast. Otherwise, it's been good.
The race show is brought to you by Raceway Park and Yamaha.
NASCAR racing out of the lights at Elko Speedway on Saturday nights in 2003. See NASCAR Budweiser late models, Miller Lite Sportsman, Coca-Cola Thundercars, Exhaust Pros of Northfield Street Stocks. A full night of NASCAR Dodge Weekly Series action. Visit GoElkoSpeedway.com for more information. It's fun for the whole family. Elko Speedway proudly presents the race show with Robbie Hahn. Don't miss any of the excitement at Elko Speedway this summer. You gotta be there.
Encyclopedic Knowledge is sponsored by Elko Speedway.
This week, the Encyclopedia talks with Steve Anderson, the number 50 late model driver at Elko Speedway.
Lakeville, Steve Anderson is currently in the top 10 of late model point standings. Steve, you got a couple of heat wins this year, but you haven't been able to make it in the feature. How's the season been going so far for you?
Not too bad. We've ran good some nights, and of course we'd like to run good every night, and it's just been a little bit tougher for us to get a handle on things than we'd like, and we just keep working away, trying to do the best we can every night. That's all we can do.
You ran earlier in your career out here up until about the late 80s, and then you started again in the late 90s. What are some of the differences between the late models then and now?
Well, back then we had a lot harder tire with a lot more power and even a smaller tire. We ran an 8-inch tire at first, and you know, now you got a bigger tire that's a lot stickier and a real race tire, and we have not quite as much power as we used to have before with the 9-to-1s and the 2-barrel carburetors.
I see your car, I believe it was one of Jeff Martin's at one time, and I think Jeff went to cutting up his cars because guys like you and Rob Host and Jim Kulseth actually went faster in Jeff's old cars. Is that the case, you think?
Well, I don't know if I ever went faster. I gave him some good races, but this car here was a car that we built for Jeff when I was still helping him, and he was going to run, and then he went into the Remax, so he sold this car, and now when Roger Kubish was selling it, you know, I just kind of had the itch to get back into it, so we bought it, and we've been working with it ever since.
Do you find it hard to keep your motor cool with the distributor down in the thermostat housing?
Well, actually, you know, that's where you want that thing in the front, and it's a lot easier to adjust the timing.
I believe this year you're running the N-headed Ford motor, which is on the Windsor block, and you used to run the Cleveland. What are some of the differences there that you've had to adjust to?
Well, the blocks are a lot better than the Cleveland blocks, and the heads just are more comparable to Chevrolet, where they help us with this little smaller port, and which in turn gives you some more torque, which out here now you really need the torque because everybody bites off the corner so good that you got to have the torque to get your car getting up and going.
Well, good luck, Steve. We hope to see you again on the race show.
Thank you.
I'm Dan Plan with the 00 at Elko Speedway.
Despite what we call full moon racing last Saturday at Elko, there was some incredible side-by-side racing in the features, and we caught up with some of the winners right after the races. How about this feature win tonight?
I needed it. I needed it for the crew and everybody to see that we're having some rough times this year. It just makes everything feel better.
Some of our number crunchers on the race show determined that
as we noted a couple weeks ago, whenever Dan Plan features a driver, as he did you, 4 or 5 weeks ago, that driver suspiciously runs into some trouble, like you did. Do you think you have the Dan Plan curse off your back now?
Yep, I think all the curses are gone now. I think we finally can just relax and race.
Well, right away I know Josh Emerson pretty well, so I was kind of happy to be next to him. It was nice to know that, who was there and what he was going to do. And from the 8th lap out, caution, I knew pretty much if I just stayed there and I paced him, I'd taken the last lap because he tends to overdrive the car. And that's exactly what happened, and I was able to pull away just enough to get the checkered flag in the last lap.
Now, who's this standing next to you? Is this your engine builder?
Yes, this is my engine builder, Christina Keenan. I've been having a couple bad weeks here, little engine problems, and she put one together earlier this week, and I think it was Tuesday night. She decided she didn't want to see me lose again, so she put it together for me, and it sure did the trick tonight.
What sort of excitement does this victory bring you, having put together this engine just this past week?
It's really exciting, and it's the first time I've seen him win, so it's thrilling for me.
Bud Kane put my image on his hood and on his trunk after we talked about him on the show. Do I get the same treatment from you?
I got little Chicago Welding on the hood, and I really don't think he'd like to see your face next to his name.
Well, I like to see my face any place. You know that.
Yeah, I'm sure you do, but I don't know if he'd be okay with it. But we'll see. There's a lot of room underneath the car that, could use some pictures.
Are you saying that's where I belong?
I didn't say that.
Oh. Okay, I think this interview's over, don't you?
Yes, have a good day.
Encyclopedic knowledge has been presented by Elko Speedway, featuring the NASCAR Dodge Weekly Series every Saturday night.
NASCAR racing under the lights at Elko Speedway on Saturday nights in 2003. See NASCAR Budweiser late models, Miller Lite Sportsman, Coca-Cola Thundercars, exhaust throws of Northfield street stocks. A full night of NASCAR Dodge Weekly Series action. Visit GoElkoSpeedway.com for more information. It's fun for the whole family. Elko Speedway proudly presents the race show with Robbie Hahn. Don't miss any of the excitement at Elko Speedway this summer. You gotta be there.
Down and Dirty is sponsored by Cedar Lake Speedway.
You could argue, and probably successfully, that Tom Nesbitt is one of the most colorful late model drivers in this area. Brian Nelson, our videographer, and Mr. Earring, Stan Meissner, caught up with Tom Nesbitt at Cedar Lake Speedway.
Tom, you've been doing this for a long time. Tell us how you got started in racing, got into the late models.
Well, I got started watching a neighbor of mine when I was a kid and going to watching him at the races and got interested in it. And the late models, when we started racing, that was the classic cars. They were just street cars. And there was also sprint cars or modified. And our class progressed into the late models, and I guess the modified progressed into the sprint cars.
Okay, now, let me ask you this. I noticed the car is black. We're used to seeing you in a blue car. What's up with that?
Well, I've had the blue car for years, and the car I bought last year, new, I wasn't really happy with it, and I didn't really have enough money to get another car. I made a few changes the first part of this year, and I said if it didn't come around by the first month, I was going to get something else, and I have a chance to try this car out for a couple of weeks. And there wasn't enough time to put a body on it for this weekend, so that's why it's black. It won't be black long.
Now, I've been coming out here since, about 1962. You've been racing a long time. Would you tell us your age, or is that a secret?
Well, my age is personal, but I started racing in 1959.
Okay.
And I was 19.
All right, thank you. Now, I wonder if you could give us a little quick tour of this car and show us some things about a late model.
Well, this is a GRT, and what's known as a 4-bar car. The rear suspension is held in by 4 trailing links, and the car we had before was a Rayburn, and it was called a Z-Link car. It's just a completely different car. They're good in different places. The 4-link car seems to be good on the dry slick track with the style of tires that we've got with us. So I've been with Rayburn for years, and my loyalties are to Rayburn, but I just couldn't get his chassis to work with the rules and the tires. And I noticed the other guys that have the Rayburns are struggling too. So we decided that I need to make a little money racing, so I got to get something better.
Now, you got a kind of a long commute. Tell everybody where you're coming down from every week.
I live in Thunder Bay. Now, I don't really come down every week. My wife comes down back every week, but if there's races during the week, I usually stay around here and live in the bus. And I have Adams Automotive as a shop where I work out of down here, and also Rapid Performance, who owns this black car, who let me work out of their shop here. And I really don't go back and forth as much as people think.
Okay, now let me ask you this, and promise not to chase me out of here, but you've been known to stop on the front stretch and express how pleased you are with the official calls. Does that happen sometime?
Yeah, it happens. I just, I don't know if I'm outspoken or what, but I just, if I see something not fair, I just like to talk about it. And everybody thinks I'm probably for myself, but I'm actually just for all the racers, so they treat everybody fair.
Down and Dirty has been presented by Cedar Lake Speedway, featuring the best dirt racing in the upper Midwest, Saturday night.
Race fans, you haven't seen racing unless you've been to Cedar Lake Speedway. Racing every Saturday night is legendary Cedar Lake Speedway, featuring some of the finest dirt track drivers in the upper Midwest. Fans witnessing fields of over 150 racers competing on a regular basis. There's only one track. The legendary Cedar Lake Speedway. Regular race night race tickets just $10 for adults, $5 for children. Check us out online, cedarlakespeedway.com, or call toll-free 866-4CLS-FUN, 15 minutes east of Stillwater.
The usual suspect of the week is sponsored by Arby's.
Back in the race shack, and we are joined by late model driver Jason Schneider. I was walking through the pits last week at Elko, early in the evening, and you told me, oh, it's rough. You know, track's not coming to the car, car's not coming to the track. You go out, you qualify well, and you win the feature.
Well, that's about the way it goes for me. I do a lot of complaining.
You play poker a lot, too?
No, I hate poker. I never win.
Despite your poker face in the pits, right?
Yeah, I suppose you could say that.
Another good feature win. Not quite as dominant as it was, 3-4 weeks ago, but you took care of the competition last Saturday at Elko.
Yeah, the car, it took a while for it to come in, and then, you know, I learned some things about the car as we went through the feature, and it kind of came to me as I figured them things out. I got quicker when I learned them little tidbits of whatever.
There were two incidents in the race that I want to ask and kind of get your opinion on. Number one was early on when you and Cornelius might have made contact. Did you make contact?
We made contact.
Okay.
There's no question about it. You know, and I went in hard, he went in hard, and I probably wanted a little more real estate than maybe what he was giving me. And you know, I don't race like that. That's not my intention, to bounce and bang anybody. You know, that's the first tire marks I've had in the car all year. I think that says a lot. I respect Dean a ton, and I had no intentions of doing that on purpose. I just wanted a little more room, and we touched.
Right. That brings me to a point that we've made on this show often about the to the rear rule. The rule reads that if you're involved, even if it's not your fault, they send you to the rear. They didn't, to your good fortune. What do you think of that rule? Do you think it's enforced consistently, and do you like it?
You know, I don't know if it's enforced consistently because you know, I'm in the car most of the time, so I can't give you the honest answer of it. In my situation tonight, obviously I won the race, so I'm going to say I think it was called the right way. But even if I was on Dean's side, you know, it happens. Racing is a contact sport, whether people like it or not. I don't like it. I don't want to get touched as much as the next guy, but it does happen. You're going 100 miles an hour, inches apart, and sometimes the cars don't stick, and sometimes they do.
The other incident involved the number 99 when he was led onto the track coming out of the pits in turn 2. You had a bird's eye view of that. Why don't you tell me what went through your mind?
First of all, I need to call Fruit of the Loom and get a sponsorship because I need to clean my shorts. That was pretty scary.
It was horrible to watch from the stands as well.
I talked to the corner guy up there and asked him, and he said he gave me the okay, but you know, when you're given the okay, it's get up in them gears and go. You know, hot dog it out of it, and he didn't. That's what I was told. He got on the track and he just kind of lollygagged out there. And
I think something broke on his car is what happened.
And I don't know that.
You've had many big accomplishments in your racing career, a couple track titles, but you have never been our usual suspect of the week. You probably thought you were coming in here.
I knew it was coming. I
we couldn't let you go the whole season. So I figured we'd do it. Be nice to Oven Mitt Man now. You look good with it. I see a striking resemblance.
Colors match, don't they?
Yeah, right.
Just as long as I don't get the title at the end of the year.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, I told you we wanted to give it to you a couple weeks ago because you made that one race so boring. I mean, you just pulled away from everyone. Even a caution couldn't slow you down. So I figured, in fairness, we'd give it to you this week and give you some more airtime. And we'll give you a coupon to go to Arby's with your wife.
Okay, that sounds terrific.
She still wants to get you back on it. She wants to get herself back on the front page of our paper. So we'll have to work on that as well.
She's my PR lady. She wants front row every night.
I kind of like that attitude.
Yeah.
Congratulations on a good run, and we'll talk to you again before the end of the season.
Thanks a lot.
Jason Schneider with us in the race shack, and we'll be right back.
The usual suspect of the week has been brought to you by Arby's. What are you eating today?
I love the smell of this new sandwich.
Oven mitt, how is it you can smell when you don't have the nose?
What do you mean I don't have a... What? Where did it go? Oh!
Arby's new Market Fresh 5-Star Club. Oven roasted turkey and ham plus 2 cheeses on new Harvest White bread.
Nice nose, Oven mitt.
Thanks.
But how do the glasses stay on if you don't have any ears?
What? I don't have any... I don't have ears!
Arby's new Market Fresh 5-Star Club.
What are you eating today?
Without a Yamaha ATV, you're not going very far. The Grizzly 660 Automatic from Yamaha. The only ATV with push-button front diff lock and 4-wheel independent suspension. The Grizzly 660 Automatic. Where you go now is up to you.
See Century Power Equipment in Stillwater and Towsley Motorsports in White Bear Lake. The race show is brought to you by Towsley Motorsports and Raceway Park.
Back in the race shack for Points to Ponder with Chris Schultz and Peggy Johnson, I'm Rob Hahn. How are you today?
About as good as you look.
Well, that must be fabulous. And better each second, right?
Yeah.
I'm good, thanks, Rob.
Glad that someone's good. Point number 1 in our illustrious Points to Ponder. Mid-season championships don't mean a whole heck of a lot. I don't think they do. I think it's nice, nice way to recognize the midpoint of the season, nice way to recognize whoever is atop their respective divisions. But the only thing it really means, I think, is that one particular driver is in a good position to start the second part of the season.
The best thing about it is it means that the season is half over, right? Season's half over, we're half done, I wonder, my point for this ponder is can Rob really not come up with anything better? Because, who cares?
Peggy, do you care?
Mid-season
Please,
championship.
I could use one person supporting me here.
The person that wins the mid-season championship, it's nice that they are recognized. However, in the whole grand scheme of things, it really doesn't mean much because the thing that means the most is the last night, the points leader after the late model feature and or Thundercar feature, Sportsman feature, or street stock feature on the last night.
I wonder, and I ponder also, what does he actually think we're going to say to this? He knows the answer before he even asks the question.
That's
we're
because I'm prescient.
You're what?
I'm prescient.
See, here's another one of them words. What does prescient mean? Give me a dictionary definition of prescient.
Means you're able to kind of predict what's about to come in the future.
So what does that have to do with the mid-season championship? When you know that...
No, you said that I knew what you were going to say before you said it. Did you forget to take your happy pills today?
I didn't know happy pills.
We're going to have to bring an extra dose next week. Point number 2. We've talked about it off the air, but a good night of racing can be done in 3 hours. Certain tracks do it, other ones seem to struggle a little bit. I've never heard anyone walk away from a 3-hour night show saying, man, I wish we had 2 more hours of racing.
I have my own view on this because, I think a lot of time is wasted in intermissions that are lengthy. There's one track in particular that likes to take at least a half-hour intermission, and even though they still do keep a really good time schedule, it's really annoying when I really want to go home. I don't want to be there till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever the case may be. But, what was the question
I think
again?
we were talking about a good show can be done in 3 hours.
Yeah, okay, lengthy intermissions, and I think that, if there's cautions, that they can speed up the show and tell the drivers to get in their positions in one lap or less. It shouldn't be this difficult. We've seen cautions out here where the caution laps go lap after lap after lap, trying to get one car in a particular position, and it's so annoying. But
it all depends on why they're lengthy. Are they lengthy because there's a lot of divisions and a lot of racing, or are they lengthy because of a lot of cautions and a lot of stupid stuff being done? It all depends. I don't know. I don't mind when they go to 11, maybe 11:30. But sometimes...
As long as they're on a Saturday night, right? You wouldn't want to move them to a Friday night and go to 11 or 11:30.
Friday night's fine as long as it's a regular Friday night of racing. Then Friday night is fine. Hey,
you can laugh a little. That was a jab at you.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Wow, just one. Because you took your happy pill.
It's like, it'd be like I like what you're saying, and I don't, and I ain't going to promote you to say stupid stuff
And I'll do a
anymore.
good enough job promoting myself.
Yeah, that's the problem.
All right, there you have it. Remember Seinfeld was a show about nothing? This was kind of a segment about nothing. Points to ponder, and we'll be right back.
It's been called the fastest growing sport in the country, and it's right here at Raceway Park, Minnesota's first and finest NASCAR weekly racing series track. All summer long, catch great races featuring NASCAR late models, hobby stocks, bombers, the wild and crazy figure race, short trackers, and the Miller Lite Enduro Series action. Shakopee's own Raceway Park. It's where to be for hot NASCAR weekly racing series action.
There you have it. And with that, we wrap up yet another episode of The Race Show. Thanks for joining us. My thanks to the Big Double O for all of his help, and we'll be back next week. See you then.
Channel 45 and Surfing, making headlines daily.